What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD mode video. So today we are going to be discussing the upcoming Season 10 balance changes. And boy, this one's actually quite a doozy. This actually had a lot of weapons that needed to be adjusted. So this video shouldn't really take too long given the fact there's only really one balance page worth of patch notes. And it usually just, I guess this time it's gonna pertain a little bit more to multiplayer than Battle Royale. There are some changes for Battle Royale, but only on like certain weapons. But I'll tell you this one, the changes that you're going to see here are something that I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be satisfied with, at the very least. So starting off with the DRH, the range got increased. For multiplayer, it went from 14, 20, 24, 36 to 16, 20, 27, 36. As for BR, the range has changed just a little bit as well. It went from 14 meters on the first range to 16 meters. And then on the last range, it went up to 30 meters instead of 24 meters. The chest multiplier was also increased from 1 times to 1.15 times, and the base mag reload speed increased from 1.33 seconds to 1.16 seconds, meaning that it's going to be a lot faster. And for the 25 round OTM mag, they also removed all the penalties. So if you do use this magazine, there's literally no cost to your weapon stats if you do decide to, put this on. So the changes that you see may not be like much, but there is quite a bit of, things that do need to be discussed with this change, especially when it comes to the range and for the chest multiplier, because this actually kind of incentivizes you in some ways to not actually use the OTM at all. I mean, for a long time, the DRH is usually well known for its OTM mag, whether you're using 25 round or the 30 round OTM mag. But when it comes to the regular 30 round mag or even the 38 round mag, it's never really been considered useful. Mainly because it kind of reduces the damage pretty significantly compared to if you were using the OTM mag. But with this chest multiplier increase, it's going to be a lot easier to land 3-shot kills, even if you're not using the OTM mag. The only difference that I found between the two is the fact that you're going to be able to 3-shot with the OTM mag at a slightly longer range, and that's basically it. But anywhere above, like slightly above 20 meters, you're going to be able to 3-shot without the need of an OTM mag. But for me personally, I'm not really that sure if I'm not going to use the OTM mag, mainly because it does still have that 20% bullet impact benefit. So I might still stick with that, but even with the extra range that's given, I mean, it's still a plus anyways. Also, keep in mind, if you do want that bullet impact benefit, you're probably going to have to use a 30 round OTM mag. I don't know if it's present for the 25 round OTM mag. So now we move on to the BK57, which I'll probably say of everything that got changed for Season 10, this is probably the weirdest one. So the range wasn't buffed, but it was adjusted. So, I mean, in the first range, it was buffed by 3 meters, but then it was nerfed down from 24 meters to 22 meters on the second range for whatever reason. But even then, I don't really think it makes much of a massive difference. Maybe if you are using the 7.62 rounds, maybe it might affect the first range. Maybe you could 3-shot better over there, but I'm not even too sure myself because I basically never use that gun or that mag anyways. So Odin this time around, of course, receives another ADS speed increase. I mean, it's not that bad at this point, but I guess they found a need to increase it even more, probably to get people to use it more in multiplayer. I'm not sure if this applies also to BR. But yeah, I mean, I don't see the point of adjusting it any further. I thought it was fine the way that it was. But yes, that's the change to the Odin, so let's move on. So now we move on to the ASM-10. So the first range was increased by, went from 16 meters to 20 meters. So that's basically a 4-meter increase on the first range, meaning that you're going to be able to get a lot more consistent 3-shots, especially if you're using the Branson barrel. As for other stuff, they increased the reload speed, the sprint to fire speed, which doesn't really matter at this point, given the fact that we still have that ADS sprint out bug anyways. So also the movement speed did get increased as well. So you're going to move a little bit faster with this. So now we move on to the FR556. Nothing really crazy. They just reduced the aim shake magnitude. I mean, they added that option like this season or the season before. So I don't know why they have to reduce aim shake. I mean, I thought you guys already fixed that with that option, but I guess not. So now we come to a change that I hope for the love of fucking God that they actually make it work this time around, is the PPSH 41's horizontal recoil. So yes, They are going to be adjusting it for season 10. I don't know by how much, but they have done this many times in the past. And even with all the attachments set up, it's still really not enough to stabilize it. They've changed this recoil pattern like I think 3 to 4 times at this point. So hopefully fifth time is the charm. I'm not really that sure, but yes, for the love of God, let it work this time around. So now we move on to the Striker 45. So the range was increased by 1 meter on the first two ranges and 2 on the final range. This might not seem like a lot, but it might make a big deal. I'm not really that sure, but yeah, you could 3-shot a little bit further now. I think, like above 11 meters. I'm not too sure about that, but I'm not sure if this reload speed buff range increase buff will actually change it too much. But let's just wait and find out. So now we move on to basically the biggest change of Season 10, which is going to be the CX-9. So it's been a while since a new weapon that came out gets a buff the very next season. The CX-9, this is probably going to be one of the bigger ones for next season, especially probably making it to the meta as well. So the bullet velocity is increased from 450 meters per second to 660 meters per second. And I did do some calculations with, like the barrel that does increase bullet speed. You're going to be able to now get it to I think up to 800 meters per second. So yes, this thing's going to hit a lot more, consistently a lot more faster. The damage also was increased, but really only on the third and the last range. I don't really know how much of an effect that's going to have on the weapon. But yes, also the chest damage multiplier was increased. Again, the damage is still going to be a 4-shot within those first two ranges, so I don't really think it matters that much. But as for the CX-38 and the CX-38S barrel, they did also add the 25% bullet velocity feature. So as you guys know, I think the CX-38E barrel, the one that has like the most range increase, was the only one that actually had any sort of bullet velocity changes. But I'm glad that they added 2 more barrel options that have that same benefit. So as for the final 2 changes, they go to the 30 round and the 50 round extended mag. So they reduced the movement speed penalty for the 50 round mag by 2%. So now instead of it being 4, it's obviously going to be 2%. But they also removed the movement speed penalty for the 30 round extended mag completely. So now the only downside, I think it's only going to be 3% ADS speed, and that's basically it. But I think any rational person with the brain's probably just going to use the 50 round extended mag anyway. So having a change like that for a 30 round doesn't matter because I don't really think anyone's going to really use that. So now we have another horizontal or / lateral recoil change for the MSMC. As for this one, my personal opinion on the MSMC, I mean, it's a pretty stable gun already. Not too stable, but stable enough that you don't have to run every single recoil stability attachment in the book. But I do have to agree. I mean, the horizontal recoil does get in the way a little bit, but nowhere near as much as the PPSH. But if it's in the name of stabilizing a little bit more for, people to actually use the weapon, I mean, I'm all for it. So now we got changed for the RUS-79U. Range increased from 9 meters, 18 meters, 32 meters to 10, 20, and 32. So really the only first 2 ranges are the ones that got changed by 1 meter on the first one and 2 meters on the second one, respectively. Will this change at all? I'm not really that sure. I mean, it's just 2 meters. I mean, again, 1 meter could mean the world, but for the RUS, it may not mean too much. But let's just wait and see what happens there. So now we move on to the M4 LMG. The aim shake was decreased, which let's be honest, I don't really think it had that much, but whatever. I mean, and they've also finally updated the 30 round light mag. So as you guys know, the M4 LMG at this point has 2 different light mags. One that's a 30 round and another that's a 40 round. But the big flaw behind that was the fact that the 40 round was always faster than the 30 round. So they're finally making adjustments to that to make the 30 round light mag a lot faster than the other one. And the only other downside that they're adding is that, well, not other downside, there's only like one, but I guess the downside that they're adding is the bullet impact downside, which is just taking it down a notch by like 0.05. So it's not really gonna mess with it too much. But it's funny because that little discrepancy has been out for like 2 years. The 40 round has always been faster than 30 rounds. So it's good that they're finally acknowledging that they messed up there, or they just never bothered to change the 30 round light mag. So yeah, I think that's pretty funny. So now we move on to the final change, which is the PDW. So the recoil buff reverted to the pre-buff version. So whatever we received for Season 9 is going to go back to how it was in the previous season, Season 8. So yes, the recoil, or I guess the horizontal recoil, is going to come back to this weapon. Not like it matters. I mean, this gun's already as stable as it is. Trust me, when I used it before the patch for Season 9, it was still like very stable. So again, something like this is not going to make too much of a difference. But anyways, that's basically it for the patch notes. My final thoughts on it is the fact that, well, I think the one gun that I want to be changed the most is probably the PPSH. I've liked that weapon for a very long time. I've used it on some occasions. I mean, hell, I even got the legendary skin, well, at least the first one, very early within the draw that it was actually on. But the thing is that I've always wanted the PPSH to have at least a chance to shine, but it never could really do that with the horizontal recoil that it has. And, you know, over time, like I said, they've always made changes to try to reduce it, but it's never exactly been enough. So hopefully this time around, they finally get their shit together and they finally fix it up. As for the other major changes, such as the DRH, M4LMG, as well as the CX9, I mean, the CX9 at this point is basically going to replace the Fennec. I know the Fennec doesn't rely on bullet speed, but given that, you know, we're finally getting more options with barrels and everything, I could see this actually becoming part of the meta. And as much as I'm going to regret saying this, I do kind of agree with the changes for the CX9 itself, because, you know, I kind of had rose-tinted glasses when I was grinding in Shimmin, obviously because it's like a lower range map. But when you actually play on different maps, you know, longer range like Crossfire, like what you're seeing right now, yeah, you could actually you could see the weapon coming up short a lot more easily than you would in Shipment. So yeah, that's probably why they're buffing it the way that they are, so it could be a little more in line. Will it be an overcorrection? Probably. I mean, that's most likely. But we're just gonna have to wait and see how it turns out. I'm pretty sure not everyone on the planet's gonna like be forced to use this. As for the DRH, the changes to the multiplier, also that was another thing that I didn't mention that didn't really make too much sense either, just like the 30 round light reload for the N4LMG. For some reason, the multiplier on the arms were always higher than they were with the chest for some reason. So like you would get more damage if you shot them in the arms rather than the chest. I don't know how they never saw that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already pointed that out many times. But yeah, it was something that needed to be changed. But yeah, I mean, the fact that you don't really have to rely too much on the OTM mag anymore, I think that's actually pretty good. So you don't have to like reduce your speed too much. But it's not like the DRH already doesn't have excellent speed. I would say, like, of all assault rifles, I think that one has like the most generous speed, especially for a 3-shot weapon. So there is a possible chance that the DRH could end up becoming one of the more reliable 3-shot weapons given its speed. So that's something worth noting as well. But yes, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, make sure to subscribe for some more COD mobile content. I'll see you guys next time.